Okay, there we go. All right, JR. Yep. Oh, folks, we got a good. I like the way this looks. Yep. This is going to work out just fine. This is the connection. It's all happening right now. Yep. There it is. What a story it is. All right. You should be good, JR. There we go. Real news on location in Providence. Plus, we're going to talk about West Warwick. Folks, so much news. You're going to want to hear this. Yep. All right. It is, wow, what a day. Unbelievable. Good afternoon, one and all. Yes, there it is. People are filing in. We have the latest on West Warwick. We do. But this story on the gang members. Good afternoon, one and all. Wow, it sounds clear, JR. I like the way this sounds, JR. Yep. Nice and clean. Let me check. That is X. There's YouTube, latest on West Warwick schools. Let me see how that pops up. And I think that is also clear. It is. There's YouTube, latest on West Warwick schools. You know, one thing see how that pops up about this. And I think that is also clear. Folks, just so we're all clear. You know, one thing. I'll just mention, let me get rid of that. But I don't have a list. But the one thing, hi there, Maria. Yes. Whenever we do this on location, it does sound a little bit like I have a lift, but I don't have a lift. But I am aware of that. Let me put there we go. All right, we got the ticker going. All right, we're just going to wait for the cue, and then we're going to go. And folks, I have some visuals. JR says confirmed, and we're good to go. Look at that. Yep. I don't have a lisp, but it does sound like I have a it's only because when we're on location. And the solution would be I don't use as many platforms, but the many platforms certainly deliver the larger audience. So right now, meant to share that. And we're live. Folks, right now we're going to give you the latest on West Warwick, and also, well, we have a lot of breaking news on this Tuesday, and I know a lot of people are upset about the situation with the West Warwick schools, but we also have an update on the Michelle Romano case, and we also, the big story, so why I am downtown, and we're in Providence. So I was almost going to, I can say right now it's 106. And you're listening to we're live right now on AM 1380 and also 99.9 FM. Now, you can always listen online at our website, which is dpetro.com. West Warwick schools and gang members arrested. Well, that's why I'm going to be going into court. And JR, we're going to break early, right around 54. We have plenty of time here, folks. But this is a fascinating story that's playing out. And folks, this is one of those situations. By the way, those that are watching, you can see the wand light that we have, and we use that at night when we need to get somewhere in a hurry, and that allows me to go through the traffic. I put it on right now. It's not as dramatic as when it is at nighttime, but you can see that allows me to go through traffic, not stop at any red lights, travel at high rates of speed. Sometimes, we've been going to crime scenes sometimes within the speed gets up to over 80 miles an hour. But that's what comes with being part of Road Patrol Live. Obviously, it's far more far more dramatic at night. But we have the Michelle Romano case. I was almost going to go down to the the coach that's on trial with the naked fat coach, but I want to be in court this afternoon. So this is, and I'll tell you the whole story, how Cranston police, this is a good example of Cranston police and Providence police working together. And that's the way it should be. Now, folks, and the thing about this that also people should know that the rest of the media won't tell you is that Governor McKee wants them released. 4 Venezuelan, very dangerous gang members arrested in Providence at the mall last night. McKee wants them released. All right, but we're going to start out with West Warwick. We're going to start out with West Warwick on this Tuesday. Again, we have so many new people that are tuning in. We were live in front of the court with Karen Reed last week. This week, I was just about to go to McGrath, where they have the trial with the naked fat test coach. But then I learned about the Venezuelan gang members that they grabbed in Providence last night. So I'm going to be in court for that at 2 o'clock. They are highly dangerous. This is right now, they're members of what is considered the most dangerous gang in the world. So 4 of their members are here in Rhode Island. Why is that? Because it's a sanctuary state. Not only are they in custody, and they're going to be in court coming after 2 o'clock, and I will be there. It's my understanding they're going to be in Kent County Courthouse tomorrow. We'll be there as well. Cranston Police wants to charge them with felony theft. Now, folks, keep in mind, Governor McKee, because we're a sanctuary state, wants them released. So we're going to talk about that. I was speaking to someone connected with ICE. I don't want to jump around too much because I am going to start off talking about West Warwick. And someone I was speaking to connected to ICE, they were highly critical of the station down the dial, where they said basically they're in cahoots with McKee, and it's shameful. But let's stay on. You want to check DePietro.com. We have the latest on the Michelle Romano investigation. There's even an update from that, but I didn't even have time to update. We also have the latest on this Venezuelan, these gang members that were arrested in Rhode Island. Folks, this is, wait till you hear the background on these individuals. And McKee wants them released. So, you know what I don't understand is Helena Folks. See, this is the problem with the Democrat Party. She's going to challenge him in a Democrat primary, and she doesn't even bring up anything about it. But check out DePietro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn, and you can make your Easter reservation at the Coesit Inn, proud sponsors of DePietro.com. All right, let's stay on track. We're going to start with West Warwick. Now, I've seen what everybody is sending me about West Warwick, and I want to read the statement. I've seen it. Everyone, I started getting it yesterday. I'm well aware that there's a student at West Warwick High School, and they have very disturbing images of that. I'm aware of that. I have that. However, what people have to understand, West Warwick Police, they investigated. I also want to tell you, I have instructed anyone that was reaching out to me. I said, let me see the email that you sent to the principal. And I didn't contact the principal. I'm just contacting you. Folks, I mean, there's so many different elements of this, and you have to understand that because it's a minor, you can't release the name. I'm well aware of the story, and I want to remind people this is where people need to be adults. And the West Warwick Police Department, they posted, we're aware of the social media posts concerning rumors of a threat of violence, West Warwick High School, April 8th. Full, thorough investigation. One of the problems with this time of year is April it's the anniversary of Waco. It's also the anniversary of Columbine. And so the threat level goes up in March into April. West Warwick Police, we conducted a full, thorough investigation into the threat in March when it was first reported, again late last week, when the initial social media post was shared again. After our investigation, consult with West Warwick Public School. We're confident there's no viable or credible threat to any West Warwick school students or staff. Out of an abundance of caution and ease concerns of students, parents, staff, there'll be an increased visible covert West Warwick police presence in and around the school. Folks, so for those of you that are saying the police don't do anything, that's not accurate. They did investigate. So all of these individuals, and I've seen the postings. I don't know who this person is. I fully admit it is, I'll show it up. I'll hold it up a little bit. I know some of you have seen these posts. Listen, I get it. It is frightening with someone posting things that are very concerning, but that's where the police come in. That's where the police come in. That is where police investigate. And they determined that it's not a credible threat. So now listen, the West Warwick parents, they're going to do what they want to do, but don't say, and the police aren't doing anything. You may not like their findings, but from what I understand, and so many people have contacted me, this student was only suspended for a day and kept out of school. What you want to do, and this is really geared towards the parents of West Warwick, even though I'm hearing from all these other parents, what you want to understand is this is a matter for your school committee. This is a matter of the school committee. What you want is have the reps in West Warwick put in legislation that if you are a public school student and you make any type of threat about a school, that you are immediately expelled from that school. That's what you need. The police, their hands are tied. Would I want to send my child to a school where there's someone making? Of course not. Of course I would not. But people are skipping over the fact that the West Warwick police investigated and they don't deem it credible. And I've seen all these people saying that they're keeping their children at home. Folks, there's a lot goes into it. Just because someone says that, apparently this threat first was posted in March. It's April 8th. That's number one. Number two, listen, if someone makes a threat and they don't have access to weapons or explosives, I don't know what to tell you. Listen, I'm not saying it's not concerning, but that's what it is. It's just a threat. So, but don't say the police aren't doing anything. Then contact the principal in an adult, mature manner. Contact the superintendent, and there's several options here. Maybe it's time you explore private school for your children. I attended Bishop Hendricken. Kids, there were boys that were thrown out of school. Because of the teachers' unions, it's very difficult to get someone tossed out of a public school. So I'm not saying it's not concerning, but you need to talk to your school committee. You need to talk to your reps. Have them introduce legislation that if you're a student and you ever make a threat that you're going to harm others at a school, that you are expelled from that school. Right now, there's no legislation on that. There's no one even addressing it. So all of these people running around, I had somebody last night sending me obscene messages. Oh, so you're just going to wait till it happens. Listen, what are you talking about? I'm not even involved in this. This is a matter for the police and the superintendent. Now, I'm also going to talk about Michelle Romano, and I'm also going to talk about the gang members that are going to be in court. But it's 1:17. Folks, this portion of our program. Hey, I didn't realize it was going to rain this morning. It did rain this morning. We have more rain coming. Maybe it's time for a new roof. Contact Roofco Rhode Island. Roofco Rhode Island. 401-868-7149. Call Roofco Rhode Island. let me tell you, they do such a fantastic job, local company. And what I like about Roofco, Rhode Island, and Joe Bradshaw is the type of person you want to do business with. He is knowledgeable. He is dependable. Roofco, Rhode Island. Now, I share their Facebook page. You can call them, request a quote, 401-868-7149. Maybe your roof has wind damage. Maybe you have a leaky roof. Maybe you have missing, lifted, or curled shingles or granules in the gutter. Take advantage. Licensed and insured roofer with decades of expertise. They'd be happy to inspect your roof for wind damage, give you a free estimate. Roofco, Rhode Island. Call them 401-868-7149, 401-868-7149 for Roofco, Rhode Island. Now, folks, good afternoon. Now, remember, tomorrow we're going to have our segment with Stephanie Murphy, and I'll ask her about this, of Marin Barrett and Murphy. I'll ask her, if you're a parent and you're upset that there's a child in your child's school that's making threats against the school and they're not doing anything, what legal option do you have? I'm telling you, it's false information. I just don't know what people expect. People don't want them in school because of the teachers' unions and restrictions. You can't do that. But you want to take it up with the police and you want to take it up with the school. Listen, I don't know. I do know who this individual is. It's very difficult. I can't just mention the names of juveniles. I have people contacting me. Plaster his name all over. You can't do that. That's how you get sued. I'm not doing that. I get that it's frustrating. But if you're a parent, you have to make a decision. Is there another option? Maybe it's time to look at LaSalle. Maybe it's time to look at Bishop Hendricken. Maybe it's time to look at Prout. Maybe you try to get your child into a charter school. You got to look at different options. I understand parents being upset, but just because some kid who's 14 and says they're going to create this type of act at the school, unless they have access to weapons, firearms, explosives, it's just talk. So West Warwick Police, they responded to it. If you decided to keep your child home, then it's just giving more attention to that individual. Now, I do want to touch on the Michelle Romano case, and then coming up at 2, I'm going to be in the courthouse because these 4 illegals, they're members of a Venezuelan gang, and Governor McKee wants them released. They got on the radar of Cranston. Providence grabbed them. They are part of that dangerous gang. I'm going to be in court with them. If the courthouse lets me go live, I'd love to go live. Traditionally, they don't let you go live, but we can certainly try to play that out. But let me stay on schedule here, folks. Also, excuse me, this portion of our program is brought to you by Propane Plus, because there is news on the Michelle Romano case. I'm going to touch on it right now. Propane Plus, heating and cooling. Call them 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. For all your heating and cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. They also have a very user-friendly website. It's propaneplus.com. You just type in residential, commercial, type in your zip code. You can call and depend on Propane Plus. If you use propane, this is the company you want to go with, Propane Plus. Well, folks, good afternoon. Now, the Michelle Romano case. Just one final thing. I understand people are upset in West Warwick. I get that. But you need to know where to channel your anxiety. You need to know where to channel your anger. If you want to change things, there's protocol to do it. But when the police and the school say we've investigated, we don't deem it to be a credible threat, but don't say the police aren't doing anything. It's not like they ignored it. They did investigate it. So that's where that is right now. Now, this is very significant right now with the Michelle Romano case. And I did post this. So, Rhode Island State Police. Now, there's a lot in this statement. Rhode Island State Police is requesting the public's assistance in obtaining any video footage from community members who may have traveled through the area of 88 Plainfield Pike Foster during the months of February and March of this year. An active joint investigation is underway involving the Rhode Island State Police, Warwick Police Department, and the Office of Attorney General to examine the suspicious circumstances surrounding the death of Michelle Romano. The Rhode Island State Police is seeking the following types of video: dash camera, in-car camera footage, drone footage, or trail camera footage. Footage can be uploaded directly to the Rhode Island State Police link, and there's a link there. So let's look into this a little bit. So now, we know on the timeline that, let's talk about the Michelle Romano case for a moment. If you check DePietro.com, which is free, by the way, DePietro.com is free. I saw someone posting last night. I was very annoyed by it. Can't you just tell us what it says? I'm not subscribed to your website. You don't have to be subscribed to the website. There it is. For those that are watching, I'm pulling up DePietro.com, and you just scroll a little bit and you see the various stories that we have, such as who was the last one to see her alive, how did Michelle Romano end up in Foster. We still have one story. There's the Venezuelan gang members arrested. And so this is where we posted. We have Friday night with Road Patrol Live in Providence. So, but folks, it's easy. And then you just click on the story and then it brings it right up. I don't understand. People say it's so hard to navigate. I don't understand what's so hard to navigate. But we have the timeline. And the timeline is important with this case. And what I'm showing right now is that is the timeline as we've learned it with the Michelle Romano case. And it's right there on DePietro.com. And what we know is she was last seen alive, as far as we know, back in July. And then in late July, the individual who she was sharing space with. Now, you know, I want to give credit to the Providence Journal. You haven't heard me say that in a while, but I give them credit because they actually reached the individual that lives there, Charles Parisi. The Journal did. They got a hold of him. And the Rhode Island State Police and the Warwick Police Department, Brad Connor declined to comment further on any of the issues. But I think I read Warwick Police Chief Brad Connor said Charles Parisi, quote, has fully cooperated with the investigation led by state police, which has not made any arrests. So he says that he fell over, Chuck Parisi. I'll post this on the website later today. But what I think is interesting about what I just told you is state police, they just want footage from February and March. They want footage from February and March. Now, why don't they want it from December? Why don't they want it from January? Why don't they want footage from October, November? The state police are only requesting people that have information February and March. Now, that tells me that what they've determined with tragically the body of Michelle Romano is it sure sounds like that's when they believe that she was placed there. So I have the information on Facebook. I posted it on TikTok. I posted it on Instagram. I will be posting it on DePietro.com. But that's different. And they're wondering, because it's very open, that maybe someone has put up a drone. Someone could have some footage they don't know. A lot of people do have dash cams. and they don't go back and look at it. Maybe someone has some dash cam footage of that area, and they come across something they may not realize. So, but that, it sure sounds they've developed a pretty good handle. Sounds like it anyway. I'm not saying it's definitely official, but it sounds like they've developed a pretty good handle about the investigation. Now, folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by ServPro of Providence. When disaster strikes, ServPro of Providence, this is where they come into play, whether it's water damage or fire damage, mold, storm recovery. ServPro of Providence. Call them 401-941-5500. ServPro of Providence. They're fast, they're thorough, they're professional. You'll see me out at night. We're at some kind of commercial fire. You know, they need to call ServPro of Providence. Maybe it's your home or a business, but that's who you want to contact. ServPro of Providence. Restoration, reliability, results. They bring the latest technology, certified expertise, and a commitment. Get your property back to normal and fast. ServPro of Providence. When water, fire, mold, or storm damage strikes, call the trusted team. ServPro of Providence, and they're available 24/7. Call them 401-941-5500. Well, folks, good afternoon. We are once again on location. Now, why am I in Providence? Well, I'm in Providence because at 2 o'clock or shortly thereafter, at the Garrahy Courthouse, 4 Venezuelan gang members are going to be dragged into court. Now, I did post on the website, depetro.com, what we have learned about these individuals. Now, I'm hearing from different people that these are very, as you can imagine, very dangerous individuals. And I mean, it's frightening that they're even in Rhode Island, but they are. So here's what we have learned about them. 4 members of the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aroga, were arrested at Providence Place Mall. Yesterday, Providence police were called upon to assist patrol units with a larceny investigation. A pass-through bulletin from Cranston Police to Providence Police was disseminated in regards to an active Cranston Police Department investigation series of retail thefts within the city. It included a vehicle of interest, several suspects who were responsible for the thefts. So do you see what happened? They hit in Cranston, and then Providence catches word of it. Last night, Providence police observed the vehicle in the area of the Providence Place Mall, in which they observed the vehicle stop in the middle of the road. 2 male subjects ran from the mall and entered the vehicle. They halted the vehicle at 1 Avenue of the Arts. That's up by the Veterans Auditorium. So 4 males, ages 20 to 22, were arrested, charged with shoplifting, possession of implements of concealment while shoplifting, possession of stolen goods, and conspiracy. Suspects are expected to be arraigned later today. A large amount of suspected stolen merchandise was located in the vehicle. Origins of that is part of the ongoing investigations. Agencies in Massachusetts, Connecticut are also listing them as suspects in the theft of their jurisdiction. So, do you understand, folks? This is Venezuelan gangs, and they go on these binges of retail theft. And the reason why, where do they go? They're very dangerous gang members, and they go to states primarily that are sanctuary states. Now, here's where it gets interesting. From what I was told, their vehicle is filled with stolen merchandise. Now, Cranston wants them. And this is the part that people need to pay attention to. Cranston wants them. And in order for Cranston to get them, Cranston needs to be a court, because under the guidelines that Governor McKee has set up, that unless, even though I believe ICE wants them as well, but if you don't have an ICE detainer signed by a judge because of Governor McKee, he would set them free. And it's completely wrong. So now it's my understanding, here's what's going to happen. They're going to appear in court. I believe once they are done in court, we're going to find out, and I want to make sure I'm there. I believe Cranston is going to grab them. And I believe they're then going to be brought to the ACI. I think so. And they're expected in court tomorrow at Kent County. But folks, this is one of the problems of being a sanctuary state. I mean, this is just absurd that we have Venezuelan gang members. And because of Governor McKee, his first instinct is, oh, you got to let them go. You got to let them go. Oh, no, you can't hold them. As Sabina Matos says, they are Rhode Island citizens. No, they're not Rhode Island citizens. They're Venezuelan gang members illegally in the country. And this is a different version, but it's organized crime. And they go on crime sprees, and they go on killing sprees, and large retail theft. So Lieutenant Governor Matos says they're Rhode Island. No, they're not Rhode Island citizens. Just because, folks, this is where I have a fundamental difference with the McKee administration, specifically the Lieutenant Governor. Just because they're in Rhode Island, it doesn't make them, as she calls them, they are Rhode Island citizens. No, they're not Rhode Island citizens. They're 4 Venezuelan gang members committing crimes in Rhode Island. That's what they are. So stop saying that we cannot allow them to deport these Rhode Island. They're not Rhode Island citizens. And therefore, by the way, they don't enjoy the same privileges as an American citizen. You know why? Because they're not American citizens. So I also want to commend a student at RISD, student at Rhode Island School of Design, just had their visa revoked. And so they're getting shipped out of the country. Now, I know who it is. The local press won't reveal who it is, but I know who it is. You know how I know who it is? Because the student, was one of the ringleaders of all the anti-Israel protests. And the RISD student that was leading the protests and causing all the havoc and chasing down Jewish students and calling for the genocide of all Jews they're here. They're here in the United States on a student visa. And part of that condition is you're supposed to behave yourself. You don't chase Jewish students around Hope Street and the East Side screaming genocide to all Jews. And from what I remember, this RISD student, who they revoked the visa, and the student is getting deported. This student was not only always saying, oh, and praise to our martyrs, which is, that's slang, that's kind of, those are key words. Glory to our martyrs. That is code for praise to Hamas. They consider the Hamas fighters that killed all the Jewish people who then lost their life. What they're saying is, in glory to those members of Hamas. They speak in code. And when I was up covering those protests on the East Side, And these kids at RISD, oh yeah, glory to our martyrs. They're basically praising Hamas. I'm so glad that they grabbed this anti-Semitic, I can't even use the language, who also should be noted. I guarantee you it's not going to be reported, but this RISD student, very friendly with Rhode Island politicians, very friendly with members of the Providence City Council. Everybody knew each other on a first name basis. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That a student from RISD who is being deported or has been deported for organizing anti-Semitic pro-Hamas rallies was praised and was on a first name basis with some of the lunatics within the Providence City Council. I know because I have video and photo of the student with that June Rose, the chief of staff of the Providence City Council, who has a beard and he parades around in a dress. I have the video of them at a pro-Hamas rally. How's my life going? Folks, good riddance. Good. Get them out of here. I don't want them in here anyway. This portion of the program is brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Listen, you want to contact Corey. Corey's going to do a fantastic job for you. 401-283-9815. 401-283-9815. I share that Facebook page. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, line, striping, epoxy. What can they do? Well, they'll seal coat a driveway. They do crack filling, pothole repair. They can make your pavement look like new, keep your parking lot safe. They also do sport court resurfacing, pickleball. Do you need your tennis court resurfaced or a basketball court resurfaced? They epoxy garages, patios, decorative concrete flooring. Call for a free quote. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call today, 401-283-9815, 401-283-9815 for Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Folks, I also want to remind you, Hill Skeffington Funeral Home, they were thrown by a fire, Main Street, East Greenwich, but they're open. They're open, and they are handling everything you need handled when it comes to, they specialize in honoring the memory of a loved one. They help family and friends remember a life with a personalized funeral service. Hill Skeffington Funeral Home and Cremation. And they'll handle everything for you. This is who you want to deal with in your time of need. Hill Skeffington Funeral Home and Cremation. 401-884-9222. Main Street, East Greenwich. 401-884-9222. Well, folks, 1:41 on this Tuesday. Now the sun is out. This is glorious. We will be doing Road Patrol Live later. I am going to be in court later this afternoon. I have a prediction on West Warwick. I know a number of people kept their children home from school today. But as I have been saying, by all accounts, the police looked into that. And they didn't find that it was a credible threat. It's not as if they refused. Like, when people say the police aren't doing anything, like, what do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do? I agree. It does seem it is very concerning, and it's very concerning with the fact that there's some student that is posting these various threats, but as of right now, that's all it seems to be. That's all it seems to be is a threat. So I want to just check some of the other news of the day. I did mention Rhode Island State Police asking for the public's help investigate the death of a woman, body found in Foster. I think that's interesting. Where Michelle Romano's body was found, it is remote, and I don't know where that is right now. And as I've mentioned, I think it's also interesting that they only want video for February and March. That tells me that's when they believe that Michelle's body was placed there, which certainly begs the question, where was she since then? If she was last seen in June, her family, Michelle Romano's family, contacted police last seen alive in July. Family contacted police in August. She's been missing since July, but police, to me, they're intimating that they only believe that she was placed there in February, March. So the question is, where was she between July and January? I don't know. Still a very active investigation. I want to also touch on the naked fat test coach trial that I almost went to today, but I'm more interested to see these Venezuelan gang members that are going to be in court coming up after 2 o'clock. And folks, I also want to be very clear. We will be doing Road Patrol Live later. If you're watching right now on Facebook, you can share that you are watching. I implore many of you to subscribe for Road Patrol Live. It's terrific. We're going to be doing more and more subscriber-only content. It's 49 cents. I don't know what to tell you for those that say they simply can't afford it. We all make choices with our income, but I want to be in to see it. But that North Kingstown case of the naked fat test coach that is so disturbing. The argument that seemingly his defense attorneys are trying to say is that it was voluntary. I don't think that's an out. You're a 14, 15-year-old boy. You know, here's the coach, Mr. Basketball. I mean, are you going to say, no, I don't want to do that? He's clearly in charge. The testimony is very disturbing. I do plan on being in court for that at some point. I just don't know when. But I come back to, I find the whole case so disturbing. And the fact that the fact that WPRO allows someone on the air who was laughing about it, who hung up on parents of students that had to go through it, hung up on boys that had to suffer through it, and even some that I think are testifying. It's just so bizarre. I can't even begin to try to understand it. Folks, I want to remind you about Arch Design Builders. Now, they specialize in residential design. Call them 401 207 4124. 401 207 4124. Arch Design Builders. This is the dream team. Ed and Roxanne, maybe it's time for a new kitchen. Maybe it's time for a new bathroom, or you want to redo it, or basement. Or maybe it's time for a new deck, or you want to open up family room, a special project. Arch Design Builders. These are the type of people you want to let into your home or business. This is who you want to do business with. Arch Design Builders. Call Roxanne, set up that meeting, 401 207 4124. They're gifted, they're talented, they're fantastic. Arch Design Builders, 401 207 4124. Now, you are going to have the chance to meet them at the home show. They are going to be at the home show. And I fully understand you want to deal with people in person. And this is going to be your chance to meet them in person. They're going to be at the home show Now, today is the 8th. The home show starts Thursday, April 10th, and it runs Thursday, Friday the 11th, Saturday the 12th, and then Sunday the 13th. Arch Design and Builders, they're going to be at booth 804 at the convention center. Booth 804 at the convention center for the Rhode Island Home Show. Arch Design Builders. Well, folks, good afternoon again on this. Boy, it does look nice out, doesn't it? Certainly looks nice out with the sun is shining. The sun is shining. You can't deny that. On this, the sun is shining on this Tuesday. I'm going to be going into court right at 2 o'clock to see these Venezuelan gang members. And folks, you just never know where a story like this, you just don't know where it can go. But since it's also nice out, I do want to remind you about Watson Materials. They do carry the largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Call Sean, 401-885-0600. Watson Materials. Request a quote, 401-885-0600. Look on them. Look for them on Facebook. Order hardscapes, mulch, loam, decorative stone online. The most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. They have it all. Pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, landscape lighting. 401-885-0600. Well, folks, good afternoon at 1:49. We are once again on location, and I am very anxious to see these Venezuelan gang members. Now, in talking about West Warwick, I predict that the school day will end and there will be no credible threat. I know parents are upset. I know people, when you read those, listen, I didn't post them because number one, they're by a juvenile. Number two, we didn't have all the information. According to the West Warwick police, they were actually done in March, and it's also a juvenile. And it's not as if West Warwick police said, we're not even going to check it into it. They checked into it. They say it's not a credible threat. I've dealt with West Warwick police on a number of different issues. I think they're a fine police organization, and they're always very responsive. So I know people are upset. I know they want the student thrown out. Go to the next West Warwick school committee hearing. Here's my advice to you. You go to the next school committee hearing, and when they take public comment and say, let's adopt new guidelines for West Warwick schools that if you ever threaten that you're going to do something to the school or another student, that you're automatically expelled. At least get the ball rolling. At least that would be a step in the right direction, and you may get some answers on it. But for now, superintendent's aware, principals aware. I had someone say, could you go broadcast in front to show everyone the large police presence? Number one, they don't like that. Number two, they certainly don't like you in front of a school. Number three, I think that would make people more on edge that, hey, he's in front of the school. There must be something going on. And it's my understanding that there's nothing going on. So that's what I've been told. Again, folks, good afternoon. We're going to be going into court for these Venezuelan gang members. And this portion of the program, don't forget about J. Perry Paving. Call them today, 401-732-1730. Maybe it is time for the parking lot. Maybe it's time for the driveway. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Call them for a free estimate, high quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate for any project. And remember, with J. Perry Paving, there's no one that's better with veterans than J. Perry Paving. Nobody. No one. There's no way you're going to get a better package than with J. Perry Paving. Call them 401-732-1730, 401-732-1730, letter J, J. Perry Paving. Well, folks, good afternoon. Let's roll through some of the top news of the day. Starting with up in Dedham, jury selection continues in the Karen Reed trial. I believe by the end of the week, they are going to have a jury. I think they are, but it's not easy. Both sides seem to be going through their different strikes, but they seem to be getting closer, and then they're going to appoint a jury. Down at the McGrath complex in South County, you have the naked fat test coach trial is going on. I will be in there at some point, most likely not today. Now, West Warwick, ground zero. Many parents upset over the threat. As of right now, it does seem that the police were right. It's not credible. And the day is probably about an hour away from being complete. And then it'll turn out that the police were right. It was not a credible threat. And then the other big story is I'm going to be in court coming up after 2 o'clock. And that is the situation with these Venezuelan gang members. That, that were first, I want to give credit, Cranston police put them on the radar, and then it was Providence police, very heads up, grabbed them at Providence Place Mall last night. So huge heads up by local law enforcement. All right, JR, we're going to be sending it back to you in just 30 minutes. So, folks, again, 1:54 on this Tuesday, April 8th. And this has been the real news. Now, we will be live with Road Patrol Live later. We're definitely going to be live with Road Patrol Live later. I will see, let's see what pans out in court this afternoon. And right now, we're going to send it back at 1:54. We're going to send it back to JR in the studio for the remaining parts of our program.